Imagine that you're going to visit a place in the Earth's core. It is a place called the Halls Momente. In the Halls Momente lie the secrets of our ancient race and the ancient truths of the essence of our being. The Halls of Momente are the place from which we originally emerged when we came to the earth. And it is the place that we will pass through when it is our time to leave the earth in ascension, to pass beyond the boundaries of this harmonic system into the greater harmonies of the universe. Now let us sit comfortably with our eyes closed and imagine for a moment a spark of white light centered at the center of your brain in the pineal gland. Breathe gently, and as you exhale, move the spark of white light down through your body. On each inhale, stop the movement of the spark of white light. And on the exhale, move it downward. Use the breath to move the spark of white light, which is the focus of your attention, downward and out of the body, out of the base chakra, down to the 12th chakra below the feet. And use the breath now to move yourself downward into the earth's core. Imagine the sensations as the energy of the rock, the earth's crust, moves against the energy of your essence as you spiral downward toward the center of the earth. As you move downward, you begin to feel a rhythm. It is a rhythm like a pulse. It is the pulse of the earth's core. Try to feel that rhythm now. Try to sense its beating. Try to sense the aliveness of this earth. For in remembering that the earth is a living, breathing being of consciousness, we will reclaim parts of ourselves that we have lost long, long ago. As a spark of bright light in the center of the earth, now imagine yourself to be a human being. A small version of the human being that you imagine yourself to be as you sit in the chair. The small you is now down in the earth's core, and in front of you, there is a door. The door is shaded blue. As you stand before the door, a sudden knowing comes to you, and you know that long ago you have entered here, and that it is your right and your heritage to do so. For through this door, you will enter the house of many mansions, the grand universal scheme, this teeming with life. Life created by our Creator. Life that we will one day be joined to share a loving relationship in union. As you remember these things, a vibration runs through you, and it is the vibration that is the key to opening this door. And with the spark of ancient memory, the door dissolves before you, and you now pass inward into what appears as a large crystal structure, as if you are walking yourself into a double-terminated quartz. The double-terminated quartz room is large about you, but you can sense that its structure is indeed as a crystal-like structure here. It is the vehicle of frozen light and sound that you stand within. Every being who has ever passed through the halls of Amenti to incarnate into the earthly planes has such a crystal awaiting them within the halls of Amenti. It is the original cell of your consciousness passing through you. It is your doorway in, and it is your doorway back out. Imagine yourself now standing within an immense crystal, double-terminated crystal with points on the top and the bottom. And imagine now that the crystal begins to spin around you. The direction does not matter. Each will spin as it chooses. Suddenly you feel yourself growing lighter and lighter, as if the particles in your body are somehow becoming less dense. They are becoming light. And as your body increases its rate of vibration, you begin to see opening up within your crystal other doors. And you know that these are the doors to the halls of Amenti. The halls of Amenti that will lead you from Earth to Tara to Gaia and into the Christed planes of the universes beyond. We are now going to visit some of those higher places. And we are going to call upon the Rishi of Harmonic 5 to assist us in our voyage there. Notice as you stand within your crystal room that a door opens now, and a being of light that looks like a living star walks into the room with you. And the being takes your hand, and suddenly a burst of white light flashes outward from the being's heart area, and your entire crystal is filled with light, and it begins to vibrate and feel the vibration around you, and suddenly the crystal bursts open, and it turns into a beautiful vehicle of light. The Mahansamakala. You are now free to travel into the higher harmonic universes. And you have an appointment in time. An appointment with a very special being, known as your Christ yourself. Feel the sensations of light moving through your body. Feel the sensations. As your particles increase their particle pulsation speed, as you begin to accelerate upward into the higher universes. Looking out from your vehicle of light, you now see before you a strange tunnel that appears to be made of violet light. Upon closer inspection, you see that the light is frozen, and it is amethyst that you are looking at. And in your vehicle of light with the Rishi, you will now pass through the amethyst caverns. Overhead, you will now see a large golden white sun. This is the core of the 8th dimension. You are getting there now. You are getting closer to your destination. Watch as the gold turns to silver, and the silver into blue black, a velvet blue black. As you enter the 11th dimension, you will notice a silver black light that almost seems liquid. And you are now nearing your home, the home of destination, the Christ itself, who is waiting for you to make this visit. Watch the silver black light now turn into bright white and surround you, and you are spinning in your crystal vehicle of light, with the Rishi holding your field so you are safe and protected. Suddenly an area of light opens up in the room. A point of light expands to become a portal, and the portal expands to become a pillar. And the pillar begins to take on the shape of a human. Except this human is about 14 feet tall. Gaze upward at this human for a moment, and imagine what this being might look like. This being is your avatar, your Christ itself. This being knows why you are here on earth. It knows your evolutionary plan. And it knows how to guide you there for your highest and greatest good. Try to remember for a moment what it felt like when you were a little child, when your heart was still innocent, and you could look at the new things about you without judgment, without fear, with just openness, the openness born of innocence. You are the child again now, in this relationship. You are the child, and the parent is a tremendously loving and wise being. And the parent loves you dearly, for you are part of what it is. Experience the feelings now, as your Christ itself reaches down and scoops you up in its arms, just like you were a child. Feel the sensation of allowing yourself to become a child once again. Feel your body relax as you lean against the shoulder of your Christ itself. Feel the sense of safety and security, of unconditional love that your avatar wraps around you. You are precious to your avatar. Your avatar level your Christ itself, is always with you. And it's up to you to journey there. And when you do, you progressively become closer and closer to eventually the visions between you dissolve into the illusions that they truly are. Relax in the presence of your Christ itself for a moment. Try to feel the reality of this as real as you can. Realize you have entered a level of higher evolution now. That all of the things you look out upon on the world have suddenly grown strong and not nearly as significant as the greater structure of the universe that you have now found. Just by putting yourself in the presence of your avatar, you will grow and expand. You will become multidimensional. You will grow to return to the immortal being that you were. Your Christ itself, the Christos, is the self that you always were, and you always shall be. It is the point out of which you emerged, and the point to which you shall return. You can let your Christ itself guide you in the things that you do. You can learn to merge your consciousness with that of the Christ itself, and become the Christ itself. Look into the eyes of your Christ itself now. Does this being look like you, or are there changes? And the image that you see of the Christ itself is an image that is created for your benefit, to show you something or teach you something valuable about yourself. For the true image of the Christ itself is the beautiful light sound vehicle of the Mahatma. You may return to this place anytime you wish to visit with your Christ itself. And if you go here in meditation on a regular basis, you will begin to feel the level of consciousness between you and it merging. Its awareness will become your own. We will return now to the halls of the meditative, to the end of this cavern which led us here. But we will know that the doors have now been opened. The doors to our Christ itself are no longer locked and sealed. We can open those doors and allow that energy to bathe us. As you move away from your Christ itself now, to the end of this caverns of memento, notice that in your hand there has been placed an object. The object will be unique to each of you, and it has a symbolic meaning that will help to unlock the portions of your being that will allow you to bring your Christ itself into manifestation. Imagine that you are staring into your hands, and if you do not see the object there, keep looking, for it is. You just need to find the right frequency to move your energy in the right way, and you will begin to see it. When you come back into the room, bring that image with you, for this image will serve as an access key to the inner halls of the Amethyst Caverns. Many things can be learned here when the time is right. Let us come back now through the amethyst caverns into the center hall of the method. Feel the light field around you beginning to slow. And as it slows, feel its density increasing until once again you are standing within a crystal. Know that this crystal vehicle is there for you. It awaits you at Earth's core whenever you choose to travel. You know that you will come back again now that you have found this place. And the vehicle will always be there to take you where you want to go. We will now turn ourselves into a spark of light once again and leave our vehicle and spiral upward and upward, up through the Earth's crust, and back into our 12th chakra, back into our base chakra, and forward, back into putting our minds and our focus at the pineal gland, lead the third eye. And open our eyes now and gently come back into the room and try to remember the symbol from your journey to a new day. May Christ itself be with you at all times. And so it is. Sometimes the many meditations actually do. Not mine. Mine is the sixth report. Okay. And now, you want to finish off our meditation with okay, I don't know if I can. It's kind of loud. I don't know if I can sleep with it. Okay. Okay. This isn't exactly a meditation. Let this be an open-eye meditation. We spoke earlier of the shields, of the earth's shields. The singing shields. A perfect example of a singing shield would be the instrument that now plays. Feel the sound waves that come off this instrument. These may move through the air. When it's played loud, they move forcefully, and they can make you cringe with their intensity. Composed of light and sound. This is the shield that represents the consciousness of our earth planet, just as our shields who light represent our consciousness in the various levels. Our earth is a conscious living being, and every one of us, somewhere deep within, has a little bit of memory left of what it means to be in used eons ago, particularly in the Mayan civilizations and also in the Maya, whereby understanding simply is you have something called the Earth Star Chakra. You can begin to open that chakra directly into the field of Earth. This will begin from you between your consciousness and the consciousness of Earth. Now, in order to do this, permission is needed, because there are those who guard the shields of Earth, Tara, and Gaia. They are beings of higher evolution. They are beings beyond harmonic universe law. They are beings from the energy matrix and from the eternal source. They're called the guardians of the 12 pillars. And they keep the foundations of reality systems, dimensionalized systems in place. These beings represent one of the highest councils of light that exist. And we call them councils of light quite simply because their primary state of being is as a wave pattern. And if we were to see that wave pattern, it would be such an immense quantity of probability of light that it would blind us. It would do more than blind us. It would incinerate us in contact. That's why they don't come here. Not in that form. Now, to begin drawing energy from the Earth's shields, it is most appropriate first to offer a gift of energy. The gift is not offered because you want to get something back. It's offered out of love. It's offered from an ancient part of you. This deep, deep, deep within your third chakra. It's an ancient part of your mind that genuinely loved the Earth and knew what it meant to walk upon its surface and hear every bird on the planet sing and feel the reality of every tiny creature, of every creature large and small, and know your oneness with it. There is a time each of us knew this feeling. There's also a time when we could simply inhale and exhale, and then inhale the energy of the day all the way through us until our whole entire system was filled to capacity. For it is simply the breath that allows us to do this. And long ago we forgot how to breathe properly. We cut off our access to the shields. The shields have been used to create instant healing sometimes. In the ancient days they worked very well for this purpose. They were used to stop pain. They were used to slow the aging process. And the Earth didn't mind. The Earth didn't feel used. For the Earth felt it was supporting the growth of its consciousness. The Earth has always known that we are part of its consciousness. It is only we who have forgotten our connection to the rest of what we are. As a collective, we are part of the collective consciousness of this planet. Maybe think for a moment of a giant shield, a glowing shield, of light and sound inside of the Earth. And then imagine another. Up above your head. Imagine another, right around here, really above the heart chakra. Like discs of rotating light that move around you. There would be one connected to the base of your spine that would move around you. There would be one beneath your feet. One here and one here. 4 shields. You have the Earth shield coming out around you. You have the Taran shield coming out around you. You have the Gaian shield coming out around you. The shield below your feet is the most precious one. It is the shield of the fourth harmonic universe, which is the Christus. Once you activate that shield, the seal that separates levels of identity between you, your soul, your oversoul, and your alpha will begin to unravel. What that does in terms of your body systems, it begins a progressive opening of those morphogenetic star crystal seals that we saw in that diagram. It begins the activation of the power fields. All you need to do when you breathe is to remember 3,000 down into the earth core. You're stopping there. Inhaling and pushing energy back out. Every time you push energy back out like that, you are sparking tones in that shield. You are living little scalar wave patterns into life, helping that shield activate. And what you can do, what you have done, go down with the breath, inhale there, then exhale. Now, those standing wave patterns would like to give energy back to you, and you would simply breathe in from the earth core. Imagine you get disk of energy going into you, up with your breath. If you can get, let me practice, if you can feel where this breath is all the way up, all the way down, stop. Inhale, push breath. It will set in motion certain rhythms in your bodies. Your bodies haven't known for a very long time. These rhythms will begin a process of activating your shields, and as you breathe, you will help to activate the earth's shields. When you begin to do this a little bit, you practice with it, you will have an experience at some point when it is felt that you are ready to have this experience, when your higher levels of identity are consulted about when you're ready to have this experience. The guardians of the 12 pillars are willing to interact for the first time in many thousands of years. They're willing to interact directly with any humans who are willing to act with love in assisting the earth to activate their shields. If we will help the earth will help us. If we can, when we go home, enter a state of meditation, remind ourselves that the earth is a living entity. And we lean down into the earth's core and imagine a shield there. Sit in the center of that shield and call to the guardians of the shields and ask that you may be taken into the sacred holy places. It's shown the things of the divine that will allow you to be empowered, and that will allow the ancient wisdom to come alive in you, because it is there in every one of you. Sincerity is the key to these experiences. For if you go in with sincerity, you will be met from deep with sincerity. And before too long, you will feel the presence. You do not even have to hear the words of what the guardians of the shields. You will feel their presence. You will know something has shifted. Usually, they will give you a dream in which you were told certain things in a language that you won't remember. And you'll wake up knowing that you were told something, and you don't remember what it was. That's okay, because it was encoded into your body through that dream via the astral body. When you have that dream, you've been given an access code to the shields. You've been given permission to draw from their core. And you will have in your minds, because of what was given to you in the dream, the knowledge of exactly how to do that. There are steps you can take, and there are levels of shield access. There are levels that they would start children out with in Atlantis, and then at age 12, they would give them another level of shield access. Not because they were being mean, but because if a 12-year-old child had been given the access of a 33-year-old man, he would have exploded his body because his DNA couldn't handle his oversoul yet. So there are reasons why things like this are guarded and guided by higher evolution. We can hurt ourselves from this level because we don't understand all that happens. But right now, we are in a unique period of time. We are in a period of time where Earth is going to go through changes, the likes of which our race has not seen in over 200,000 years. What we do with our consciousness will affect what we will see on the outside of these changes. We can see simple transitions with some strange tone distortions perhaps, and a slight disorientation of consciousness for a little while, particularly in 2017 during the 3-day particle conversion period, because we are being put under a buffer of the guardian races. So we don't have to worry about being incinerated. If we weren't, we would have had that concern, but we don't have to worry about that. But every person that's willing to go into the Earth's shields and say to those shields, to that Earth consciousness, I am willing to do my part, will help those shields to activate, and it will help to build a strong enough force here to help those shields light. I call it lighting the shields. When the sound tones emerge from sound and burst into flame, and the flames are magnetic in nature, and they pull the shields together to the ascension center. If each one of us will enter the Earth's core and ask the singing shields to accept our gift of our attention and our desire, you will find yourself in contact with higher guidance. Because right now, this whole Earth is being monitored by those of higher guidance. And people who are willing to come forward and help, in whatever way they're guided to do by the higher levels, that is not going unnoticed. Anchoring the archetype that I would like to talk about, to explain a little bit about what that is. Anchoring the archetype means bringing in to your body part of the shield of Tara, part of your personal shield that is your soul. The archetype identity is the center, the fifth dimensional level of the soul matrix. In using Keylontic science, we use the geomancy control code of the pentagram and the color frequency of blue, because they are the control codes for the fifth dimension. We use these, and we bring in the level of identity of ourselves that is stationed there, using breathing exercises, and placing things in the chakras in a certain way. Classic Keylontic science technique, some of which you've seen here today, or the symbol code exercises we did earlier. We have available on tape a limited amount of the anchoring archetype exercises, and we have also been given a new program that is called Anchoring the Monad. Now the monad is the 8th dimensional level of identity. It corresponds with the oversoul. So you can look at the archetype and monad as being part of the shields of your Kuga bodies that are the control centers. And when you work with them, you can bring them into your body, and the frequencies that they are composed of, you can bring alive within your bodies, which will bring the consciousness that they are composed of into awakening within your bodies. Through these simple processes, and they're really not hard. On the tapes, you put the headphones on, you just listen to the tape. It's a lot easier. There's not the distractions of having people around, and it's a lot easier than trying to look at the words and memorize them. Sometimes there's 25 steps to some of these exercises, so you just kind of like get on that wagon and go. You don't worry about remembering where you went. You just kind of go with it. That's what you're meant to do. But with these exercises, and by using them, we are progressively bringing in the frequencies of the higher shields of our own bodies, which, without us even looking at them, is beginning the process of activating our Merkaba fields. So we are building the Merkaba vehicle as we work with grounding the archetype and grounding the monad identities. And then when we combine that with the Merkaba activation exercise, we are sowing bodex. We are creating an energy field and an intention that we will bring that higher identity down. And every one of us who can do this, you can bring your archetype down into where you become your archetype. You'll be grounding frequency in the Earth's shields, higher frequency, that will allow Earth to more easily enter into Merkaba vehicle. It will allow Earth to more easily bond with the shields of Tara. We're being asked by the Councils of Light to heal ourselves, because in so doing, we'll heal the planet. And to heal ourselves, all we need to do is begin working with what was ours all along, the higher levels of identity. We've given you a structure. It's pretty easy to understand. The 5 Fuga bodies and the few up there that you don't have to worry about until you become an avatar, and then you worry about it. First thing you want to worry about is you need to become fully priceless. That means you would be a fully embodied avatar. That means you would have the full strand, 12 strands, silicate matrix activated in your gene code. There are ways to do this, but there's only a limited amount of avatars allowed on the planet at any one given time, because they blow it up. Their energy is so strong that in the lower harmonic universe, there's only certain amounts of them that can come at one time, or they'd be too much frequency for the planet grids to handle, and it would literally vaporize the planet. So not everybody can immediately go and ground your Christed self. Now on Tara, there's a lot more Christed beings walking around because Tara can withstand more. In the period of time where our grids merge with Taras, there's going to be a lot of people that become Christed overnight and don't know what hit them. They will just wake up. They won't be fully Christed. There's levels to this. A fully Christed being would be a full 4th harmonic universe being. When you begin any of these processes, compared to where we are now, if you begin to integrate the soul identity through the archetype, that's one step into Christedness. You see what I mean? Every little step toward that is getting you more and more expanded into your Christ self. And the Christ self is a part of you that is a pure being of light, that is connected and always was to the whole universe, to Source. And it's a level of cognition that when you perceive things from there, the little things in life here, and even the little things in death here, are very, very little. And you see things from a whole different light, where you begin to see that what was trauma there was actually learning from here. And there's many things that come to you as a result of these awakenings. So we're beginning to offer these tape programs, because there's too much other information they want us to cover in the workshops. Every workshop is different. It's all handed for new material all over the place, and that's what the next one's supposed to be about. But we are trying to keep track of what we did on the tapes, and they have said that if just those 3 exercises, with all the complex information we tend to present at times, if those 3 exercises were used, the Merkaba, the archetype, and the monad tapes, you would be able to enter at least polyphase Merkaba vehicle in 2012. And that is the first objective. Once you get there, then you can aim higher. But just to get to the point where your fields can do this will allow you to not have adverse effects from Earth's fields doing this around you. Because Earth will take you into Merkaba with it. But the frequencies that are running through the Earth grid can be damaging to you if you haven't built your own vehicle through which those frequencies can be synthesized. So we have the tapes there. Now, one of the things I'd also like to share with you a little bit is, let's get that little page at a time. Yeah, I'm working on it. Okay. I have to go into the race evolutionary cycles. This was something I found very fascinating. This is chart number 6. It was from starting with section 6, where we get into like just the analysis or what it can be. That would be right, yeah, right there. Like this page here, right before this. Right before that. Okay. Now in this section, there's information given on our race evolutionary destiny. It was actually encoded in the silicate matrix. This is some of the things I go over when I do privates. I do private, they're called Betty-Hoover scans, and they're an analysis of the content of the silicate matrix in the DNA, so we can get an idea of what a person has and what a person needs to get if they don't have it, and what level of identity integration you're at, because you can tell that by the strands. But what's neat about the strands is you can also tell a lot of other things. Now, let's see, you got that up there? Okay. Over here, you'll notice in the silicate matrix diagram, there are names here. Polarian, Hyperborean, Lemurian, Atlantean, Aryan, Uvarian, Tardisian. What might they mean? I'll tell you what they mean. The Amente Evolution Plan, which was our plan to evolve here, was created around. Thank you. Okay. It was created around a long-term evolutionary objective. These were called root races. And the root races were seeded here in ancient times. They were seeded here actually 3 times before we got to this point. There were ancient civilizations that went far beyond us, but that were destroyed. We're the 3rd seeding of the Amente races. The Amente races were originally from Tara, but we're the 3rd seeding of them here. Now, the silicate matrix was designed in a very neat way. The first 2 root races, the Hyperboreans and the Polarians, were seeded on etheric Gaia. They were etheric root races. They didn't have physical density like we did. But they set the pattern for our race in the morphogenetic field for the entire Earth body. They sent it in through the Gaian shield. Then the next root race to appear were the Lemurians. They were the first physical root race. Each root race was assigned to evolve one of the DNA strands, to bring it from dormant state into life and activation within the physical form. So each set of DNA strands, depending on what the activation, would have a certain body type, a certain chromosome number, that kind of thing. The Lemurians were assigned to, they would be born with the imprint for the second strand, and through the process of incarnating through the Lemurian cycles, one would activate that strand in their DNA and also in their morphogenetic field. The Atlanteans were assigned to the 3rd strand evolution. Now, each of us have incarnations in those cycles somewhere, and they would be found, the memory would be found within the corresponding strand of the DNA. We're right here and now in the Aryan race, and the Aryan race has 5 colors, and a lot of people who have a problem with the white supremacist stuff really have a problem, because the Aryans were representative of all the colors. All of the root races had all of the colors, and they're all equally valued. So most people on the planet right now are of the Aryan root race. However, there's also some others who have come in to help with this ascension project. Will you use that time? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to get into a little secret here about something called indigo children in a minute. Now, some people have heard of them, and they aren't too sure what they are. I'm going to tell you what they are. First of all, I'm going to explain a little bit about how when we get problems from our Lemurian or Atlantean or Hyperborean periods, there were unresolved issues there. There were karma that came from those areas. That is encoded as lower vibrating particles in the DNA strands, and it causes blockages in them. Those blockages inhibit the ability of the hula bodies to merge. So part of healing ourselves is learning to restore the original pattern of the DNA. Now there's the long way and the short way. The long way is to analyze them strand by strand and to know what codes, fix what codes. Now we've been taught some of that, and it's a little exhausting. Then there's the short way. And the short way is through the earth shields, and the parent shields, and the guardian shields. If we can plug ourselves in with the breath to those shields. We will be able to draw the original imprint for our strands right up from the earth. And when we're drawing from the earth, for a while it will just be earth energy. But after a while, it'll start pulling energy from Tara. And after a while after that, it'll start pulling energy from Gaia. There are sequences to accessing these energies. But we can learn to direct how the silicate matrix activates within ourselves by learning to activate the shields and our connection to them. It's kind of like the concept, and I say this a lot, trust God and tie up your camel. If our DNA is our camel, let's deal with it. You know? So it works the way it's supposed to. Now, I don't know a lot about DNA, the way contemporary scientists analyze it. I haven't studied that. But I have studied the 12-strand matrix. And I understand morphogenetic fields and the fact that they are the blueprints, the things manifest upon. So if we want to assist in the evolution of bringing our hula bodies together, we can directly work with the DNA. Also, we can work with the Merkaba spirals, we can work with the hula bodies directly, we can work with the earth shields, we can work with bringing energy, frequency into the DNA. There's a lot of things that we can do to participate in the process that Earth is going through. Some of the history surrounding our race is really fascinating. When we read our history books here, they read like a B-grade movie. There's like very little substance there. Nothing meant anything. People fought. People died. People were born. People fought for power. This one took over that one. There's not a lot of real substance in there. When you look at the history books that we're taught, and as children are given in school, there's some things we can learn about what not to do, maybe. But we're not taught about things like the secrets of our race, which are the secrets of Amente. We didn't know those. Our forefathers didn't know these secrets either. So we can't blame them for not teaching us. But this is being brought back to us now, the history of where we really came from. And in that history, there have been groups of souls, groups of oversouls, who have repeatedly come here to assist in the process of evolution of this species. Some of us in this room will be members of those groups. There are flame holders and flame keepers, there are key holders, there are placeholders. There are many different roles in this time because it's an ascension cycle. And many of us here may not be awakened to it yet, but we may have roles and agreements called soul agreements to participate in the ascension cycle in a larger way than just walking through it unconscious, like a lot of people want to do. There are ways to finding out more about your soul agreements, and who better to ask than your soul. And that can come through working with the archetype exercises, because that will help you to bring that consciousness into embodiment within you. And when you work with the monad exercises, they bring the next level. If we take a conscious hand, and it really doesn't matter what program you use, I just happen to really like the program that the Guardians offer because it seems pretty simple and like very much influenced by this culture. You know, we want it yesterday, it's supposed to be done right now, you know, that kind of thing. This culture, and it's very fast paced, from like the work environment and all that, seems to be very, you know, we wanted it yesterday, you know, make it quick, make it fast, that kind of thing. Big, quick, fast, that kind of thing. They have a program that doesn't take 40 years to master. You may not be able to, you know, ascend in 3 days, you know, but if you work with it, you will really be able to take steps and find those levels of consciousness where you become your own self-directed being because you have your interior guidance. These are some of the things that we're trying to remind people that they have the ability to do. So, in the history of our race, we've been around for 560 million years on Tara, and then another, I believe, 25 million? Yeah, about 25 million when we were here. And this is when the first Lumanians first came in. Okay, so we've been here for a very long time, and there were states where we reached evolution of much higher levels than we are right now, and there were times where we digressed much further. We're becoming, at this point, a race that needs to become aware of what our original agreements were. We had oversoul agreements before we came into human form, and there were oversoul agreements to be guardians and stewards of this planet. And that didn't just mean picking up garbage down the street or helping your neighbor. It did those things too. But it meant becoming aware of the energy dynamics of the planet and of your own body as part of the planet. And trying to act in ways that would facilitate mutual growth. And that's what we're being asked to do here with, with the programs that they offer. We're getting a lot of help. We have what are called 6 silent ascension avatars coming in to help with this ascension period. They're full avatars. Well, actually 3 of them are oversouls, but they call them avatars. There's a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th level avatar coming in. 3 of them are already here, the 3 lower strength avatars, and 3 of them are coming. They will help to hold the frequency of the orange, gold, blue, or violet flame soul or oversoul groups from harmonic universe 3 and above, who hold a very rare recessive gene that allows them to ground ultra-high frequency from the stellar bridge during ascension cycles. Their mission is to draw the stellar bridge in, to house the frequency in their bodies, and transmit that frequency to the flame keepers. So together they serve as a living light network through which the planetary shields can be activated and sustained in ascension cycles. So basically, you have a few individuals who have certain, and I know they're magnetic codes in the DNA, that base codes, that will allow them to hold tremendous amounts of frequency into their body without their body exploding. They're able to hold that frequency, and then they transmit that frequency through the heart chakra into the others of that soul group, who incarnate or oversoul group, to awaken them, and then all of them together serve as an energy storage facility for the planet. So the energies of the stellar bridge don't hit it too quickly. The energy gets transduced through the bodies of these groups. And then when it hits core, it is more harmonious with the frequency patterns of the earth. So the human acts as a grounding rod for the energy in these cases. So we have the flame holders who draw the frequency from the stellar bridge spirals. And we have the flame keepers, and that's how they describe them. They're individuals born of individuals born of the above soul or oversoul groups, the above, meaning flame holders, like the blue flames, gold flames, and violet flames. So it's one of those groups. They're from harmonic 3 or above, and they incarnate with special configurations within the electrical heli that allow them to draw in much larger amounts of frequency than an average human during ascension cycles. See, the flame holder has the magnetic code that allows them to draw the frequency in. And they are then able to plug that frequency into the extra electrical codes in the flame keepers. So they serve as this electrical unit, basically, on the planet that helps transduce the energy. Okay. They also, flame keepers, also incarnate at various periods to keep divine knowledge alive within the earthly races. During ascension cycles, flame keepers hold vast amounts of frequency within their bodies, serving as transducers of ultra-high frequency wave spectrum, downstepping this energy so it may enter the earth core without causing major disruption. They, like the flame holders, serve as host matrices, their energy fields carrying others into Merkaba during ascension. So the flame keepers, as part of what their electrical codes could do, they can sustain a high-frequency Merkaba vehicle around them that will allow groups of people who can't sustain their own fields to enter Merkaba with them in order to go through these transitions unscathed. And there are a number of movements that have come out of the New Age movement that are designed specifically for that. There's spiritual groups of this or that sort that are specifically attempting to create host matrix transplant temporarily, where the energy fields of the human working with them will be able to go into Merkaba with the group leaders because they have a high enough gene code, and that means they're one of the flame keepers groups. They're part of the orange gold flame keepers, the blue flame keepers, or the violet flame keepers. They come in various times, in various time periods,
to assist in ascension and to assist in the race moving forward in its evolution. And they are here now, and there are quite a few of them. Before I awakened to my relationship to those groups, I'm a member of the Blue Flamers. I had trooped over Violet Flamers, and I didn't know what they were or what they meant. And then my awakening came, and I remembered more of who I was and more of what I came here to do. So they're a very real group. A lot of people, walking around outside, they have no idea of the presence that is on this planet at this time. We are not alone by far. There are metaterrestrial involvements here, like you wouldn't believe, and there are some ET ones too. But if you, I think I would like, when it's time to go tonight, if people could really get a sense of what it means to be a part of this community of light, to realize, maybe for the first time, that what we see out here and what we were taught to believe out here, our aloneness, our separateness, is not true at all. We are amongst great beings at this point in time. We have a lot of help here. There's also key holders groups. The key holders work with the guardians of the 12 pillars. They have direct frequency keys in their DNA that will allow them to activate certain parts of the shield in very specific ways and just draw frequency from it. But they will help control the movement. They will help to make sure, hopefully, that the shields of Earth, Power, and Gaia are more successful. So there's a lot of groups here. And you want to be part of them. And as you begin to awaken, if you really say, hey, I want to awaken, and I'm going to try to ground my archetype and find out more about me, you may discover that you have a role in one of these groups. So at least if you know these groups exist, at least it will make sense to you if you start getting, feeling your message from your soul saying, you are of the violet flame. You know what it means now. And it also means you're not alone. No, I'm not nuts. It's not time for Prozac and anything heavy. It's time to listen and find out, more about it. Because these are movements that are happening here that we're walking around within. Okay. Let's see where I want to go from here. There's a bit of activity back there at the door, and they're just wondering what's going on back there. And his 1-year-old brought him home as a friend. And it was pointed out to me that, by the way, that's an indigo. And he was really sweet. He had this really high, screechy voice, though. But he was very smart, and his mom had a real hard time with him. And he was kind of unruly, but you could see the intelligence in the eyes. It was just like very glowing. So they are here. And there's more coming. There's 150,000 of them coming between 1999 and 2017. There's a big birth wave coming in order to help the group. Well, that's what they told me. It could, because they carry 6th-dimensional frequency within them. But unless you have some 5th-dimensional frequency alive within you right now, you wouldn't have anything to plug it into, so it wouldn't be able to stimulate the memory. You can stimulate your own memory. You don't need an indigo to do it for you. Some of them are clairvoyant. I would say just from the little that I've read about them out here and what I've been told about them from the Guardians, is that the ones that are of the cloister indigos are the ones that are exhibiting intense psychic abilities and those kind of things. Then you have your straight indigos, which are just 6-stranders, that still are advanced compared to, anybody that's on the planet right now, more advanced than Melchizedek's are. So I think the psychic abilities are coming out of the cloister race of them. They haven't said yes or no, but I just think that's where it's at. I haven't followed them much here as far as information about them, but it keeps like getting jumped in my lap. So I guess we're supposed to pay attention. Melchizedek child? Okay. Well, the cloister family of Melchizedeks are a little different from the regular family of Melchizedeks because they were the original ones. There's the Melchizedek family is a family line that goes from all the way out into union with Source through the 3 levels of the energy matrix, all the way down to the 15 levels of the time matrix. So they're a large family of consciousness that is still directly connected to Source. Now, that's considered the cloister family of Melchizedek. That family collective has adopted many other families of consciousness along the way. There are many families of consciousness that got trapped in the time matrix where they lost their original codes of consciousness that would allow them to go back out through the 8 and back into ascended mastery. The Melchizedeks acted as a host matrix to where those that were trapped in time could get plugged in. But the ones who got plugged in became Melchizedeks, but they're not cloister family Melchizedeks. Cloister family means you have the original codes because you were originally Melchizedek. You didn't get them through being adopted and getting the name, kind of like, you get adopted here. So that's the difference between them. If you know a child, that was a question about a child that was a cloister Melchizedek, it might be helpful. It would only be stressful to bring it to their awareness while they're very young. But you can allow them to be aware of Melchizedek in general, of the family of Melchizedek, and that they're part of it. But the cloister division part would be confusing. If you can guide them toward an understanding of how identity stacks up through the universe, and the fact that the Melchizedeks are a family strain that represents a way from the future in evolutionary terms, it might give them a perspective on it. But other than that, even if you're dealing with cloister family Melchizedek children, they will have more of a spiritual slant, maybe, than your average person. They may feel things a little more sensitively and deeply, and therefore overreact a little more aggressively to things. But in a lot of ways, they're just like anybody else. They need to be treated like kids. And they need to be respected. And it's not much different to raise one than it would be to raise someone who wasn't one. Does that answer your question?
I was wondering if you would cause them to bring the energy that they are connected to the ground, or would you just let that go?
That would be completely in the domain of the business of their soul levels and their lower soul levels. Yeah, I could train them. If I had children that were Melchizedek, I would train them in basic energy usage, how to use it for personal healing, and how to connect with the earth in love, and those kinds of things. But teaching them to direct things and participate in roles that might be too large for the level of development, that would be the domain of the soul. That's how I would handle that. Sure.
These kinks that are totally blocked, could it really turn awful? I mean, could they become some of these kids that are killing other kids because there's some open block, or is that something that you can do?
The indigos?
Yeah.
From what I've heard, they can definitely do that if the energy backup backs up.
Right. So that's a lot of the problems we're having though, because a lot of these teenagers are indigo kids, and they're not being given the opportunity to do their thing.
Right. One of the things that can be done to help indigos is, first of all, realize that any drugs you give them to suppress the symptoms are going to make it 10 times worse. It's going to build up more and more and more energy in that emotional body until it bursts out into something. Either physical manifestation of disease, or violent behavior, or something. The way to help an indigo, and it's really the same way to help anybody, but especially with indigos who have a lot of energy in their systems, they need a way to take that energy and put it somewhere else, so it doesn't bounce around in their fields constantly and throwing their hormones out of balance and all of that.
What about marijuana? Because I know a lot of them are. Is that lawful or is that help-free?
I think it probably sedates them.
I know a lot of
I think it eases the pain.
Yeah.
Just like alcohol would ease the pain. That doesn't mean it's the solution. And it can become such to the point where you can't deal with it without it. And they may be more susceptible to that type of behavior. They come in with the memory of the higher fields, the higher universes, a little closer to the surface. They feel it. And it hurts when you're here. It's a painful place to be here. The vibration feels like stuffing yourself into a pair of shoes that are 3 sizes too tight and having to walk across a desert. It helps the symptoms, but it only compounds the problem. Energy work is what can save indicators and bring them back around. If they can learn to open to their higher levels, which would be their oversoul levels, and if they can learn to ground that frequency into the earth core, give that extra energy to the earth.